Steel podcast. Where, of course, yours truly, Charles Prodigy Richey. As we are getting ready to count down for tomorrow, the Steelers versus the Browns on Thursday Night Football, which will be on Prime Video. And once again, if you're not subscribed to Prime Video, you can subscribe to NFL Plus. You can start your free week trial today, and you can pay either $4.99 or $9.99 a month right there, or you pay an annual fee, and basically you can watch live primetime games and local games in your TV market, as well as full game or condensed replays of the game at the conclusion. Once again, you guys can follow me on Twitter at MassSteelCGR and on Instagram at MassSteelNation. Steelers versus Browns. It's been a definitely all-time rivalry for a lot of years. Steelers right here. And basically, during the last 5 matchups, including the playoffs, the Steelers just took the previous 3 out of 5 matchups in this one. The all-time head-to-head series between these two teams, which began in 1950 was the first game, which is on October 7th, which the Steelers lost. The all-time head-to-head rivalry is in the favor of the Steelers. They are 75-60-1 versus Browns in the regular season, and then they are also 2-1 versus them against in the playoffs, making it a career all-time head-to-head record for the Steelers by about 16 games at 77-61-1. As we get ready to kick off the opening drive right here, some big news right now as it relates to former Pittsburgh Steeler and Cleveland Browns quarterback Joe Haden. As Joe Haden has announced, and has been tweeted out by both Brooke Pryor and Jake Trier, who covers the Steelers and the Browns for ESPN, that he will be will be hanging up the cleats after 12 seasons. Haden has been, and during his 12 seasons, he has been a 3-time Pro Bowler, with one of them being back-to-back years in 2013 and 2014. And then he also had his one and only Pro Bowl year with the Pittsburgh Steelers in his career here, as we look at it, which was back in 2019 right there. And all his times with the Steelers right there, he has career high with the Steelers in their interceptions with 5. His career high in interceptions in his overall playing career was in his rookie season, which was back in 2010, was 6, and where he had 101 yards returned. And also, too, for Joe Haden right now, he finishes with 29 career interceptions, which include 2 pick-sixes. He led the Steelers in back-to-back seasons from 2018 through 2019 in interceptions, with 2 in 2018 and 5 in 2019. And the moment that stood out, I think a lot of people remember Joe Haden for, was a game-sealing interception that held the Patriots off for good 4 years ago this December 16th, late Sunday afternoon game versus New England Patriots. Remember, that was also a year where the Steelers wore their color rush uniform on TV for the second time that season, as they went ahead and defeated the Patriots 17-10 right there. It was a crucial win they needed to keep their season alive, as well as staying atop the division. As we all know, the Steelers did not make the playoffs that year, thus disrupting making the playoffs of 4 straight years. That got ended right there, but I think a lot of people will definitely remember that moment in time like it was just yesterday right there. Too, when you think about it, too, it was a rematch from almost a year prior at that point. It was from a year prior, pretty much, when they lost to the Patriots on December 17th, which ended in some controversy with Jesse James. Did he have a complete catch in the end zone for a touchdown, which ended up getting overturned. The Patriots ended up winning that game, and I think the Steelers had them down by 2 possessions late in the game in the fourth quarter. and could not hold it off. The New England Patriots did holding on to not only get the bye, but the best record in the AFC. The Steelers did not have that opportunity to face them again or go any further in the divisional round in 2017. Of course, their season was upended by the Jacksonville Jaguars, which was in the middle of a current uh, four four game losing streak by the Steelers, which began by the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. He didn't really do much in the playoffs, to be honest with you. But when you look at his time in the playoffs, he only had two career games with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2017, 2018, where he only had one pass deflection. And that was in the divisional round versus Jacksonville Jaguars. He didn't really show up that much, to be honest with you. But then you look at everything else. I mean, just recently had 83 completion against percentage when trying to defend Patrick Mahomes in last year's playoffs versus Kansas City Chiefs in the wild card round, which Steelers had little to show for it, despite having earlier a fumble return for a touchdown by eventual Defense Player of the Year, TJ Watt. As you all know, too, I mean, Joe Haden has also been a big lover of Michael Jordan shoes right there, Air Jordans, as Brooke Pryor is documented right there, and always coming in with a lot of style right here for his career as we looked at it, and had a nice little store right there, and it was a legend of Joe Money for how Joe Haden was able to keep his swag and right there. And usually stands in front of his collection more than 1,000 pairs of Jordans of carefully selected pairs a day, Brooke writes. And then he decides to wander over to the sweatsuit section of his color coordinated closet and picks a set that matches the shoes every single day right there. So Joe Haden, just want to just say on behalf of Steel Nation, and of course your fellow Browns fans right there, for having a very good NFL career. Just want to wish you all the best at this point. I know, unfortunately, the Steelers and Joe Haden were unable to come to terms this past offseason. His contract situation was, of course, up in limbo as they have heard nothing in regards to that. I know he will love to continue playing on with the Steelers right there, but instead, according to Jake Trotter, right now, Am Schefter reports that Joe Haden will sign a one-day contract to retire as a Brown right there. So once again, just thank you for very 5 wonderful seasons. And I gotta be honest, with you, Joe Haden, I think did really did bring an attitude for the secondary. I know 2018 wasn't their best year as a team in their receptions. When you look back his time here in Pittsburgh, I mean, if you think about it, remember in 2017 when he came, I mean, when you look at like the impact that he made uh, on this team too, I mean, when you look at everything, I mean, and you prior to that, you had like Will Gay and stuff, and Ike Taylor not too long ago, about maybe last since 2014. But you look at it too. I remember 2018 was probably like their low mark, and where the Steelers in that season only had for that year 8 interceptions that season, and right there. And in 2019, of course, when they had Mika Fitzpatrick join this team, who helped bring that defense with a little extra swagger, along with Joe Haden, who had a Pro Bowl year that season. I mean, you look at them right there. I mean, not only do the Steelers find a way to jump that number out significantly, they had about 12 more interceptions that year. They had 20 altogether, which also included that year a pick six, which we haven't seen in a long time, 2 fumble returns for a touchdown, which was by Minka and Devin Bush in his rookie season. Joe Haden, I just feel like right now, he was definitely one of the coolest guys on this team. I just think it was just unfortunate. We did not see enough of him in the playoffs to really take this team to the next level, going back to and winning a Super Bowl, unfortunately, as sadly as it was. But definitely showed his loyalty to the black and gold. And for that, just want to salute you, my friend. Just thank you for wonderful memories nonetheless. Wish you could have won a Super Bowl with this team. But anyway, that's how life goes in the NFL. Definitely a tremendous player to have on here. So let's go ahead and get into the top trending head of the snake in this week. As regards to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it has been the offense that has been lacking consistency. Now you look at Matt Canada and Mike Tomlin, who's always been alluded to with Ben Roethlisberger, his lack of mobility, not be able to move around the pocket or extend plays as he once did. And Mike Tomlin definitely said, remember at the beginning of the year at their year-end press conference of the 2021 season, that mobile quarterback is definitely something they are very much paying attention to. Well, you look at it right now where the Pittsburgh Steelers are at going into this game for right now. Steelers versus Browns. Offensively, right now, they are 20th in the league in points scored, which is 37, and are 30th in the league in total yards with 510. And then not only that, too, the passing game, more importantly, 28th in the league at 344 net yards. And on top of that, once again, the running game continues to struggle. Of course, Najee Harris usually has slow starts, but they are 26 right now, 166 yards, no rushing touchdowns. But the passing touchdowns, there's only been two. That has been to Pat Freiermuth, and I believe the other one was to Najee Harris. But Matt Canada, who's in his second year, not off to the rosiest of starts, had one former Steeler come on the air to give his fair criticism. This was Arthur Moats.
Arthur, what do you think of the job he's doing, or what would you say about his offense through 2 games?
He's been inconsistent. It's been times where I look at the drive that Matt Canada had. I want to say it was the Pat Freiermuth touchdown drive and the drive before that we get the field goal. Both of those drives, I loved how he was calling the calls out there. The problem is that isn't happening consistent enough. And you're going to hear that be the thing when we're talking about this offense. They've shown everything that we might have wanted to see, but the problem is it hasn't happened frequently enough. And when you're talking about the lack of consistency and the lack of frequency, now you kind of feel like, man, well, what is our identity? Where can we turn to? What do we need to do to fix this thing? But for me, all I'm saying is time. After 2 games, they're still figuring out who their identity is, offensively, defensively, special teams. We talk about the defense, right? We haven't got to them yet, but we will eventually. They don't even have the same 11 starting in 2 weeks just yet. So offensively, when you're talking about that group, how many reps has that starting 11 had in stadium together? They're still figuring it out. And I think for me, man, when I look at that offense, when I look at this running game, when I look at Matt Canada, I say to myself, man, time. First 4 weeks. But that was something that we also said prior to the preseason and prior to the regular season starting. And as a fan base and media included, we get into the regular season and 2 games happen and we kind of lose our mind and forget that, hey, we said it was going to take a couple of weeks to see what this offense was going to look like for them to figure things out. Patience.
And of course, that is the key word, patience, said by Arthur Moses. He was especially frustration right there. And yeah, definitely like a lack of inconsistency and definitely trying to figure out their own identity. Definitely could see that right there. And you look at like some of the reasons why they've been inconsistent right here too. I mean, one of the things too, I mean, they're trying to do is open up the passing game and get George Pickens more involved. Now remember, Pickens, he has been targeted 6 times, only 2 receptions for 26 yards. I mean, for right now with 1 reception per game. Pat Freiermuth and Najee Harris, as I mentioned a moment ago, they are the only 2 non-receivers. Pat Freiermuth, of course, who plays tight end and running back for Najee Harris, are the only 2 players with a touchdown reception. I mean, other than that, what have we been seeing from the Steelers team this year? I mean, we know they've been struggling with the running game, so they went some trick plays, kind of like help open up things a little bit more. We go with Matt Canada's scheme, and you look at it right there. It's just it's not translating to anything encouraging right now. Because when you take a look at that running game right there, uh, in the rushing aspect, you got Chase Claypool second on the team in rushing with 36 yards off of 6 attempts, averaging 6 yards a carry on those trick plays, while Najee Harris has been not even averaging 3 yards per attempt. It's 2.9 to be exact. I mean, the second leading running back, who's technically third behind receiver Chase Claypool, is Jalen Warren, who's not even barely that much impressive. 7 carries for 22 yards. I mean, that's where when you try and look at like what's going on. And remember, Mitch Trubisky, who's a former Chicago Bear right there, who's played 4 seasons with them, 3 years primarily as a starter. Beginning in 2018 was his first full time year. He did eventually start in 2017, a couple games in. But I mean, the moment right now, the pulse right now. I mean, Mitch Trubisky who definitely won the starting job throughout training camp and the preseason. You definitely got to believe there is like some, belief. I mean, just watching him play, that he does feel a little bit of pressure breathing down his back. And I know it's very mixed right now. Mike Tomlin does feel right now on the criticism, of course, for Trubisky. But I mean, that everyone has to step up. Everyone has to get involved and be making plays. And right now, Mitch Trubisky even said, in quote, "I think I could look for 14," referring to George Pickens more often. He's doing a great job for us. I've just got to get these playmakers the football, where it's whoever out there running. I've just got to get them the ball. It really comes down to me making better decisions, being aggressive, and putting us ourselves in that position. And for a second game in a row, the pass game was stagnant. Monday, Mike Tomlin preached patience in the developing offense, but he also said that both the quarterback and play calls could be more aggressive. Matt Cannon was able to add to that, saying, obviously, there's more. I mean, there's opportunities down the field that we've got to make. Offense coordinator Matt Cannon will continue to say, we're going to keep Michigan in position to make plays, and we have to do that. We'll continue to do that until we win. We have to make plays. We have to call plays. It's all of us until we produce enough on offense. I'm in charge, and I'm fine with that. It's 11 guys doing their job, including all of us as coaches. We're never going to point a finger anywhere. End quote. Chase Claypool would also add too that our offense isn't dead in the water. There's just a couple of different things happening in the game, even like 2 different plays, big plays that the offense makes, and maybe no one's talking about the offense because those plays could be 50, 60 yards apiece. I think we just gotta trust the plan. Trubisky would also add too. I'm comfortable with it. Trubisky saying of using tempo offense, you just got to pick and choose when you use it. About the time we use it in the game, it worked well. So if we use it more often, that's up to the coaches. And then Mason Cole, his center, would also say, I don't think there's any doubt with Mitch. We know the kind of player Mitch is. Mitch is a winner. He's won in this league. He's won for this offense already. Everyone in this locker room, everyone in this organization believes in Mitch. And that's the thing too. I think for right now, but you need the running game to get a little bit more going. I mean, continue to like run, chip away, get some yards. I mean, the offensive line has been showing a little bit of encouragement. I mean, not as bad as it was last year. I think the pass protection has definitely improved just a little bit. I mean, only 4 sacks in 2 games, which is not that bad. They only gave 1 sack against the Bengals in the first week and only 3 this past week against the Patriots, which was kind of expected a little bit more. I mean, Bill Belichick has a very defense-minded coach historically. Because whenever you try and get an offense going, open up the pass game, you set up with some consistent running right there. catching defenses off guard, try and win them out a little bit. And then once you continue to chip away, then eventually, play action offense could eventually start to break things open. You can kind of loosen things up a little bit more, analyze the field, and attack the weak spots of the defense right now. So those have to, I think, like gel and work hand in hand together right there for the Steelers to continue to be successful right now. Because everyone right now is looking at the NFL, and this is not going to be like an offense like the Buffalo Bills or necessarily like the Baltimore Ravens or Kansas City Chiefs or the Green Bay Packers, where you're just looking at you got like elusive quarterbacks. I mean, definitely who's got the proper personnel, weapons, and just all of a sudden expect everything is going to be smooth. I do believe the Steelers do have talent on this team. I don't think that's necessarily too much of an issue. But when you look at everything else on here, I mean, it does start first and foremost with the offensive line right here. And of course, we got Chase Claypool, who's playing in the slot right now, and Deontay Johnson, who still is like struggling catching his passes. He still leads his team with dropping 9 passes right there, followed by Pat Fryermuth with 8, dropping 8 of them. But he's still managing to lead his team in reception yards with 112, but 0 touchdowns right there, which is a concern right now. As we continue to look at this team and wondering why they're not going further, why they're not being able to chip away in certain games. So those are going to be the significant things. We also have some updates in regards to the roster right now. The Steelers have signed wide receiver Jakari Robinson to their practice squad and released quarterback Mark Gilbert. If you remember, I think Jakari Robinson was released earlier, but he is back. He is on the practice squad right now, and currently on the Steelers practice squad, who did just let go. Like I said, they released Mark Gilbert right now. So Robertson, he's in his rookie season, coming out of Wake Forest right now at 6'1". He is been signed there. As per the injury report, as we looked at that right there, Devin Bush, who had a foot injury, was a full participant since Friday. And Minka Fitzpatrick, he showed up on the injury report as of today. He was limited in practice. So those are your only 2 starters right there. Minka was limited, so there's probably a little bit of concern, but Devin Bush right there, he looks like he should be good to go for tomorrow. Now, as for the Browns, as we learned earlier in the week on Monday, they'll definitely be without defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, who has an ankle injury. Tight end, former Steeler Jesse James. Biceps, he is on injury reserve. As well, who's on injury reserve is defensive end Chase Winovich. He has a hamstring, so he'll definitely be rolled out. While the players that were limited in practice, you got starting left guard Joe Batonio, biceps, along with right tackle Jack Conklin. Knee was limited all week, and of course, former Steeler tackle Chris Hubbard, who's been dealing with illness, he was limited in practice. So let's go ahead and wrap up and get to keys to the game right here as we get ready for this Thursday night matchup here at First Energy Stadium tomorrow night. Very first key of the game, winning the line of scrimmage. For the pass rush, it will be right outside linebacker Alex Highsmith versus left tackle Jedrick Wills right here. Browns have given up 2 sacks, which is 29th. Last week, the Steelers had 0 sacks versus Mac Jones and the Patriots right there. You look at a guy like Alex Highsmith, who actually I think started off well. I mean, in the first game right here, I mean Highsmith he has 3 sacks. That was of course all in the first game versus Cincinnati Bengals. He's also got 3 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits right here too. And so he's a guy who's looking to like pick things up a little bit. And of course, I mean, you saw how much the impact. I mean, TJ Watt, his presence not being on there, not getting a sack there, 0-5 career wise when TJ Watt is not on the field. But I'm not really too concerned about that. I think eventually they're going to figure that out. They're going to find ways because remember they were in that game. They only gave up 17 points. I think they did much better total yards wise. Now, granted, I mean that's Bill Belichick still struggling with a brand new Patriots team and roster. Still some familiar paces on that defense, but I mean, all things considering, that game was still winnable for the Steelers right there. I still believe it was just a lack of third down conversions and just not being more effectively in the passing right there. As for the offensive side of the ball, as far as protecting the quarterback, and real quick before we get into that, the Jacoby Brissett right there too. This would be a good time to like sack him. He is towards bottom in the league as far as getting the ball off his hand quick. He's 27 in that regard, which is he has one of the slowest releases at about 2.9 seconds, so almost 3 seconds right there. So if you're looking for like a pass rush to come and either quarterback alive, I think tomorrow will be a good night right there on Thursday Night Football. That'd be a time. Now as for the pass rush on offense, look for once again left tackle Dan Moore, the fend off, Will linebacker, Jeremiah Owusa Kora Moa, who has 14 tackles, and look for right tackle Chooks Corafor to defend against left defensive end Myles Garrett, who leads his team with 3 sacks. Of course, flashback 3 years ago. I mean, he'll definitely always be remembered for the ugly incident near the end of the game when the Steelers, I believe, were trailing by 2 touchdowns, who got beat up on that Thursday night game in Cleveland when Myles Garrett took Mason Rudolph's helmet and swung it at his head right there. We'll see how that goes. But right there, I think that is going to be a big assignment right there. I mean, Myles Garrett, I mean, you talk about him being a game wrecker. I mean, who's definitely still considered one of the defense players of the year the last couple of years. He's definitely a guy they cannot fall asleep at the wheel on. Last key for this game, excuse me. My second key for this game would be pounding the rock, get Najee Harris and Jalen Warren going. Harris has struggled early. Once again, they ran the ball 25 times for 72 yards. Not even 3 yards per attempt. It's 2.9. Jalen Warren, he has 7 attempts for 22 yards, 3.1 yards per attempt. Now, this will be very vital to open up the passing game. And my last key for this game, Mitch needs to trust his eyes. Why is that? He needs to break the offense game more with receivers involved. Deontay Johnson, who has 22 targets, followed by Pat Freiermuth with 17 and Chase Claypool 12, are his top targets, while Pickett has been only targeted 6 times. So, once again, I think Mitch Trubisky, he has to be very aware of that. This is going to be definitely a big wake-up call for him, because if not, I mean, I don't know what else to say at this point. I mean, other than that, I think, like Mike Tomlin realizes this offense, this is a job for everybody. Everybody needs to be stepped up doing their part, helping each other out and guiding the path for one another. Because if not, it's going to be a long season. And one of the things we continue to forget, too, when they had that season like they did, especially in 2019, when the offense was struggling and running the ball was towards the bottom of the league. Remember, he had these guys. I mean, thank God Mika Fitzpatrick was playing like a playmaker. I definitely believe he's going to be one final key to this game, too. Lower leg cramps right there. I mean, going into this game, I'm looking for other people on this defense, too, right now. I mean, outside of him, I'm going to be looking for guys like Arthur Millette, who plays in the nickel cornerback packages right there. Look for him to step up as of course, Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton's definitely going to need a big game in this one. So look for those 2 guys help out Mika, cover the middle of the field right there. And that's going to do it for this edition here of Showblitz here of the Steelers versus Browns Thursday Night Football pregame show. Once again, you guys can follow me on social media, on Twitter at MattSteelCGR and on Instagram at MattSteelNation. So I leave you. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Hang on. Thank you for watching the Matt Steel podcast with your host, Charles Prodigy Richey, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest Matt Steel podcasts, episodes, feel free to download them on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.